still scary. It doesn't matter how much change there is, coming out is scary, and figuring all that stuff out is scary. And being able to see someone who survived it is a game changer. There's such an assumption that our community has arrived here in Portland, and to recognize that we don't even have a public piece of art someplace, which is sort of the norm in a city, that should be a wake-up call, you know, to recognize that our visibility here is not nearly as large and deep as we'd like to think it is.
This mural is the very first mural in Portland, Oregon to depict the folks within our city and beyond who have contributed to the LGBT community and are part of it.
To be part of this project, where I'm among peers, locally and nationally, it is just incredible. It's something that I never dreamt or expected or even thought it would be possible.
When I was approached by Zoe to collaborate with her on creating this mural, I mean, even at this point in my life, I just thought, who are we to do this? We're regular people. Like, this kind of project is something that other people do. When I first came out in 1998, that was a huge issue for me.
The immediate comment was that, oh, well, you know, and in Spanish, this is una vieja, you're a girl. And immediately, you know, your survival instincts kick in.
I didn't come out until after I was married, and it was pretty traumatic. But I had to do what I had to do to be happy.
My experience coming out was over years. For me, I didn't just come out one day. It was a matter of discovering myself as a young person, realizing that I was trying very hard to be heterosexual and realizing that it wasn't going to work.
You know, it was scary. I came out in the late 90s, so I couldn't follow the traditional path of marrying a Sri Lankan Tamil Christian woman and having kids and a Volvo in the driveway and an office job. Like, that just wasn't gonna work for me.
And there was that expectation, especially in the Latino community, to start a family and so forth. And so I remember talking to my parents, and I said, you know, Mom and Dad, and I said it in Spanish, you know, yo sé que quieres saber cuándo me voy a casar. I know you want to know when I'm going to get married. And I said, pues yo sé un día that I am, que sí me voy a casar. I know one day I will get married. Y yo sé cuando me voy a casar con un hombre. And I know that when I do get married, it will be with a man.
You know, when I was growing up, I was alone. The word gay wasn't even around then. It was faggot. That's all. So you hear it once or twice, you don't even hear anymore. Get used to it.
Being different, being afraid of losing family, being afraid of losing community, hiding, drinking, escaping.
And it felt like I was keeping them away. And I had started dating someone, a male. And I remember being so excited about this potential person in my life. And I was asked, you know, what's new? And I couldn't tell them because I hadn't shared that part of my history. So it really was that realization that I don't want to hide, and I shouldn't have to.
And a mural is not the answer per se, but what the answer is rooted in is a deeper understanding of ourselves and how we got here.
It has been so much work, so many shifts, so many challenges, and now we're about to create this incredible piece of art. And this mural symbolizes to me just a lot of the struggles and history that we as a queer community have gone through. The figures on the mural have contributed so much to the rights that we take for granted today. The fact that I was able to get married a few years ago. If I could go back in time and say to my 9-year-old self, hey, someday you're gonna grow up and you're gonna actually be able to just be open about the fact that you like other guys and you can actually marry another guy someday and have a really great life. I mean, my 8-9-year-old self would just look at me like I was crazy.
The process, particularly involving our board, it's really indicative of a lot of those differences in the larger community challenge around the intersectionality of identities, who's recognized and honored and who's not, and whose stories get told. It was worth having the challenges of that conversation, but that was a challenging conversation to have in choosing ultimately who would be in the mural.
There's so many people that have made major contributions to the queer community and our achievement of rights.
We wanted this to be within communities of color, and we would prefer to give opportunity and mentorship to folks that haven't had the same opportunities as their white male counterparts.
My name is Kyra. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a Black queer woman. From what I hear, the mural has been a 2-year-long process. So I got in on the back end. We had an amazing artist who designed this mural named Cassandra Swan.
My name is Cassandra Swan, and my pronouns are she, her. This has been one of the most intense projects I've ever worked on, and one of the most challenging, but also one of the most impactful. It's just a really beautiful thing to witness and be a part of.
We wanted to have as much representation as we could across different cultural backgrounds, the whole gender spectrum, and just the types of achievements and contributions that have been made. So ultimately, it's a mixture of local and national figures of different racial and cultural backgrounds and different points on the gender spectrum.
We wanted to be able to create for students and passerbys a historical understanding of how progress happens, in that it doesn't just happen in the justice system. Mm-hmm. It happens through education, it happens through entertainment, it happens through music, and.
Being a Black woman in this community has been really hard sometimes. When I got to Oregon and I found that gay and lesbian people were organizing and that there was a women's movement that was active here, I started to go to places where those people were organizing. And of course you find within that group the same kind of racial bias that you find outside of that group.
It looks different culturally. I think initially I really struggled with what I was reading and trying to understand about the gay community. And a lot of what was available to me really talked from a very white, gay, male experience. And so when it talked about, you had to just be out and visible and you had to, create your own family and you had to let go, and it really did not resonate with my experience.
When I was on the steering committee that was fighting ballot measure 9, I experienced what I interpreted as a lot of racial animosity from some of the other people on the committee. But when I got home from meetings, I often found a postcard that said, "We're watching, we know what you're doing, please hang in there, thank you from all of us who are watching." They were uplifting, they were rewarding, because many nights I went home and cried. I was determined to stay there because it gave me a platform from which to speak. If I quit and walked away, you couldn't hear my voice.
It's important that we feel, if not understood, that we feel welcomed or that there's a space for us. You know, there's these assumptions, and we all have our stereotypes of what it means to be a gay man, what it means to be part of the gay community. I was one of the co-founders for our Portland Latino Gay Pride, and it really was a way of taking an intentional step in creating a space that honored what it meant to be Latino and what it meant to be gay, lesbian, trans.
One of the arguments I made during that time was that the language being used was akin to that being used against affirmative action, and that we needed to address it. But the committee did not want to address it. They did not want to address the racial overtones or underpinnings of the arguments against the gay and lesbian community, which I thought was a big flaw, but I used it.
This mural is a celebration of all of these things that we've been able to accomplish as a community, but also a reminder that there's still a long ways to go.
One project doesn't change everything, but we're a part of the change. And so to me, the mural is a significant step.
It's not enough to defeat a ballot measure. You have to have a movement. You have to have an intent to educate. You have to talk to people with whom you do not agree. You have to understand and not put down what they're saying, because their concerns are as real as yours. And if you can't hear them, then the chances are they can't hear you either.
We know that what we present is very city planned. And whether that be our monuments, the names of our streets, the names of our schools, these were not done haphazardly. Mm-hmm. And this is communicating to all of us what is important.
You don't forget where you come from. The good and the bad, those experiences that hurt and are painful, and those experiences that are successes and you take pride in, all of that is who we are. And no matter where we're at, we can't look away.
So if somebody came up to me and said, well, this is just a mural, what can a mural do? I would say to them, well, you and I are now having a conversation about it. And I would say to them, do you see the stars on the left-hand side of the mural? Those stars represent the lives of trans women that were murdered. And we had conversations about how to represent them. We thought, these women have been through enough. They're no longer here. We need to have a place for them on the mural that is safe, where they can be acknowledged. What came out of that was the idea of representing each of those women with a little star. And that way, by being represented as a symbol, they're protected from further harm. So if somebody was to say to me, well, that's just a mural, what can a mural do? Geez, I think I would start with those two things.
For me, it means do not deny what is real. Look at this. Family is everything. And for so many of us,
for too many of us, it's the first thing we lose. When we come out, we're alone.
Bullied, made fun of, ignored.
Left to die. And everyone looks away.
With time, we learn what it is to have pride. We are unique. Strength, resilience.
The embers in life.